Hi, this is Christoph Aschwanden from Noble Master Games. I'm gonna show you how to use the editor in Retro Commander so you can create your custom maps. This is just a basic introduction, but that should be all you need to create your map. So let's get started. So you're assuming you're in a game. We go to Maps and Modding, then select Modding, and the editor is right here. And now first what we have to do is we have to create a new map. So you go to File and New, and now it tells you need to download the bundle template. It contains all the unit definitions, what units are in there, and you can customize it, but we are not going to go over that today. That's probably going to be in another video. So here's the template, we download it. And if you go into the file system, you see it here. It doesn't matter where you save it, you just have to remember where you saved it. So we unzip it, you can't use it just that way, and if you go inside, here's the bundle configuration. It contains everything you need, all the units, all the factions that are in the game, and the ones that are used here in the model directory. You could modify it, but maybe don't. For now I'm gonna upload additional balancing changes and maybe other units and things. And if you want to create a very custom map with custom units, it's a little bit explained here in the custom folder, and also we don't go over that now. But here, if you read to the bundle configuration file, you get some information how to do it and a few examples, but maybe that's for later. So anyhow, let's go back to the editor. So we downloaded the zip, we unzipped it, and now we have to select the bundle configuration file. Let's do that. It's a different directory, but it's the same that you have here. Maybe let's go do it the right way. So XX and bundle template, select the configuration file, and now it reads all the configuration that you need with all the units, all the tiles you have, all the factions. So here we go. And when you click New, you need to be connected to the internet. It assigns the map to your username, to your user, and it also gives you the unique ID. If you later upload it, you don't have to. It makes sure the map doesn't replace another map with the same ID, and it also prevents other people to upload your own map, or it prevents having 10 copies of the same map without very little changes. So now that we created the template, we maybe should save it. Let's do it too in that directory. Maybe let's do it map noble. It doesn't matter how you call it. And now it's saved. So first what you need to do is you need to give it a title. Just gonna do it as a demo, so maybe Noble's map. This is a map by Noble Master. Maybe you should come up with a better description. And here, where most people already struggle, you need to select an icon file, 80 times 80 pixels. And you maybe have troubles doing that. So I'm going to show you how to do it quickly. Let's go in the web browser. There's a free application, Photopea, that you can use. And here we can create a new image in the size 80 times 80 pixels. We create a new project, 80 times 80 pixels. And where's the new? We need to hide that for once. I actually don't use it. Oh, here's the create button. So now that's just a white image. Let's do something in there. What I suggest is don't use a copyrighted image, because then your map will be rejected. Just create something on your own. I would probably not put the title in there, but you could maybe add some text, some short text. I mean, the title is already in the description of the map. So now what you can do is you save it as a PNG. You can also save it as JPEG, that should work too. Or maybe PNG is the best format. It keeps all the pixel data exactly the same. We call it map icon PNG. Yes, I'm using an ad blocker. Let's see, I think that worked. Oh no, it just downloaded it. Actually, it already downloaded it in that directory. That's now, when I open it, that's our 80 x 80 pixel image. And we can now select it, map icon, and voila. So that's the title, the icon for the map. And here there's an indicator that we didn't save the map, so you can press Ctrl S or go to the menu and save it. I would probably do it once in a while. That's our basic setup. What we need to add now is we need to add a scenario, of course. Create new scenario. Here too we have to edit it. We have to give it a name. Maybe let's do a 4-player battle. 4-player battle. If you plan to make it balanced, select the checkbox here. You can also hide it if you just want to use it for a campaign, but just leave it unplayable. Otherwise, nobody will be able to select it in, let's say, multiplayer games or also for single player. And yes, so that's it. The icon for the scenario is generated automatically. Then let's set it up. We can zoom out. See how it looks? There's just all water. That's probably not what we want. So let's go here first. Maybe let's set it up first. You can have a standard map or a generated map. Maybe let's leave it at standard for now. Maybe I can do the generated map in another tutorial video. You can set the dimension. It's up to 200 times 160 tiles. Maybe it goes up in the future, but right now that's the maximum size you can do. And maybe later, if you want to offset the map, maybe you want to add something more to the left or right side of the map, you can offset it. There's a function here to do that, but we probably don't need it now. Then next we define the factions. The factions here at the top, they're predefined. They have a fixed technology. Pan Am League has stealth technology. We can give it some initial matter. Then the other factions too, the People's Army too. They also have predefined technology, robots and airships. Give it some initial matter too. And if you go further down, you have the generic factions. That's where when you play a game, you can select which technology you want. So here the technology is unassigned. So when somebody chooses this faction, they can choose the technology. Or if you want, you can also predefine it in the editor. But those factions are sort of defined to be customizable. Also 1000 matter, and let's add another one. Let's go back. So maybe 2 teams later. Then here's the basic configuration for the map. Here you can define what the goal is of the map. I mean, supremacy is the default. The player with the most troops and structures wins. But we have also annihilation and forced survival. It's all explained in the games tutorial. No, in the games in-game manual. There is also a little help here to define what you need to set up in the editor. Nothing to configure here, or here ask or mark 1 or 2 more convoy objects and 1 or 2 more targets to move to. There's some other information. I'm gonna update the manual for the modding guide later, but so right now not a lot of stuff is written there. But for now, let's keep supremacy. What else to be? If we can give a time limit, we can maybe say the game is over after 2 hours. And we can also define an initial truce where nobody can attack one another. I mean, you can do anything else, but no unit will attack. Handicap. If you want to have a default handicap for the map, that means weaker nations get a little bit of a boost when attacking and defending. Fog of War. Then you have Shroud that covers the map and you have to uncover the areas. If trading assets, trading troops is allowed by default, building a map is enabled. You can turn off day cycles and also define if you start at night or not, if you want to have rain or solar flare activity. But let's maybe leave the defaults. And then triggers we do a little bit later. So now we have a blank map. We can obviously draw directly. I'm a little bit lazy now, and maybe you shouldn't be. But we can also use the random map generator. So it just generates us a map when we click the button. And I used it a little bit, not for all the places, but just a little bit, to generate random maps. And then I just figure, what do you call it? I adjust them so they look nice, and maybe add or remove islands. Just can click a couple times and you found something that is fun, and then maybe go in and add, let's say, a little bit water here. What you can do is, on most places you can press the shift key and you can select the bigger area or modify a bigger area. Also when you place troops, press the shift key to do that. Maybe it looks a little bit nicer if you have a little bit sand here at the border. Also what I usually do is I remove areas with little choke points or tiles that are a little bit like the one tile that is just at the edge of a mountain area. It's up to you. I would probably like do a little bit cleanup. And here to the cliff graphic. Here it's a little bit badly done by the map generator. So I would actually go in and fix it up, or maybe in the map generator, if you use it, maybe you shouldn't. You can also turn off or change the configuration how many cliffs you want. Then maybe I save it once more. So next. So now, once let's say you have your Terra set up, so it looks nice. I mean, I didn't do it now, but let's do that later, maybe not. You can place objects on the map. So here's the faction selection. You have the neutral faction. That means all the objects that don't belong to a specific faction come up here in the list. If I switch, for example, to the Pan Am League, all the objects that the Pan Am League can build come up. So depending on the faction selection, you get the different items you can build. And then you're probably wondering, oh, what's up with the complete here? So if it's not complete, the regular selection only allows you to build, for example, GRA tech, that's stealth troops, like cloaked harvesters or cloaked uranium miners, and other technology that GRA tech can build. So it only lists whatever that faction can build. If I switch to Pan Am League and complete, I get the whole list, and like that's everything that any faction can build. I mean, you can set a shielded faction and give it to the GRA, to the Pan Am League, but they want to be able to build any troops in there because they don't have the technology. So if you want to make sure you only build or give them the structures they can actually use, just switch back to the regular selection, not the complete selection. Hope it makes sense so far. So anyhow, first, maybe before we go and place faction related objects, we maybe go to neutral. Here it's very simple. You get the resources, thorium, that can be mined on the map. Then you also got uranium, which also can be mined. To build nukes, we can place vents, where we can place geothermal plants, or we can place thorium crystals, which can also be mined. We can also add some more trees or remove them. Here, if you click the minus button, we can remove map objects. And if you go to plus, and if you, you can place them one by one, a little bit tedious, but if you want to cover a larger area, press the shift button and whoops, I get a lot of trees. What might also be important, you may be wondering how to go about the cliffs, because if I place them, they only go one direction. So what you want to do is, you want to change the direction, because it's not really 3D. So you can have to fake it. So it's either 0 or 180 degrees. For 180 degrees, you get the opposite version. Going up or going down, depends from where you look. So it's either 180 or 100 or the 0 degrees. But if you just continue a cliff, it will automatically place the right tile. You don't need to change the direction. That's maybe one thing that you might want to know. Then, yeah, all those objects can be placed. What might be fun too is maybe you're wondering about the caves. How do I go about the caves? For the caves, you just build the mountains. Then best if you add doors so anybody can go inside. And you can press the right mouse button, or you can also change the direction here. But I feel the right mouse button is a little bit more convenient. Select the right mouse button and place the cave doors here. It's not a full cave yet. What you have to do is you have to select the ground and mark it as a cave. Maybe we can save it so it updates it. And obviously if you go to Pan Am League, nobody's in there, so we cannot see it. We could, for example, place a unit in there. We can remove it later, maybe a robo builder. So now the cave is visible for the Pan Am League. And then maybe to make the cave look a little bit more fun, you could probably add gravel. You don't have to, it's up to you. And then we maybe can place some bushes in the cave, or whatever you like. There's a lot of stuff we can place. We're gonna definitely add some more assets to put in the cave. We have some customized assets too for the campaign. If you later maybe want to have your custom campaign, like an old table. The chairs are missing, but they're coming. Or maybe an old computer table, or a terminal. So you can create your own custom caves and make them fun looking. And maybe with trigger you can, with triggers that I show a little bit later, you can, what you can do, you can set some actions, what's going to happen if you get close, for example, to the computer terminal. So what else do we got here? We can also place some other neutral structures. For example, the ancient relay, that's a portal that is fixed. And the ancient endpoint, where it portals to, that's also predefined. You can place them like that, and you wonder, wait, how do I connect them? So you actually go on the edit button here, and then you select the connection, and that's ancient endpoint at 4432. And you may be also wondering, wait, where's the coordinate? So up here, there's an indication which coordinate you're at on the map. Like it's tile coordinates. So you can approximately guess that's 4432. So now we established the connection. What else we got? Commando post. That's, I think, for the King of the Hill scenario. And we can also place some neutral units that can be captured by the players. And we can also, where is it? I thought we can also place the flag for capture the flag. I'm not going to add them to this scenario because I'm getting an error if I do, because it's not set up as capture the flag. There's one map that has capture the flag in there. So what you do is the flag source is where the flags will spawn, and the flag drop off is where the flags have to go to get points. So you can place maybe several or just one flag source. All the teams or all the players in the game have to get the flag from the source to the target to win. And yeah, maybe play the scenario first to see how it looks. Maybe it's time to save one more time. As you see, I'm not creating a very nice map, it's just like some random stuff to explain things. You should obviously go in and make it really nice looking. I hope. I mean, obviously you can just go and create a random map and then upload it, but I think what's the point? You want to maybe have something nice. Here I can also place roads. And what we also got, these are the neutral structures. The towns, the civilian towns are usually not really for the factions, but they can be captured. We can just place them like that, and they can be captured independently. But you could also place the town center. And with the town center here, we have to give it a name. We call it new town. We can map the town center and those two buildings together. So whoever captures the town center will get all the buildings that belong to the town center. To do that, we have to select the Edit Objects button. Select the building here. And we say the center is town center at 5143. And we do the same here. So instead of being able to capture the individual building, we just capture the town center. Yes, that's it. What else is important to know? I think most of the objects are mostly just eye candy. You're probably gonna figure it out. Yes, I think that's about it for the neutral like objects, and we're gonna add some more later. Then next, now you can check here in Tools, Verify Map. And you see there's no spanning units found for the factions. That means, yes, we actually have to like add some units for each faction. There's a way to make them spawn, but I'm gonna show you what I think maybe makes sense for now. We just have to define one commander unit at least for each faction. So let's do that. And the commander unit is usually not available to all the factions, so we have to go to complete and we select the commando robot first. Commander robot. So maybe let's say the Pan Am League is up here. With the right mouse button you can rotate the object. You can also do it here, but I think if you have a mouse it's more convenient. And then we place them for all the factions. Obviously you should space them out a little bit. And the colors match a little bit too much. Then, now you still get an error because we have to define the commander unit. And the commander robot, it needs a commander. You can also be Agent Johnson, but for a generic mission. Not a generic scenario which you don't plan to use for the campaign, for example, you just add the neutral commander. The advantage is also the commander, it's a guy now, but if you select to be a female, then a female commander will appear, so it's not the guy and the female face. What you do is to place the commander inside the robot. You just click on the robot and you see it just moves a little bit, so you know it's placed. We do that for all the factions. Here. And then one more. And let's save one more time. We should do that often. And you see, there's no commander unit, so like set up. You actually added the commander unit, but it's not defined to be a commander unit yet. So what you do is now you go Edit, select the robot, and then if you scroll down here, you view hosted. Then you mark the commander, which can change to female, commanderess, as commander unit. And then the name of the commander unit is written here. If a player joins, the name changes automatically to the player name. If I play, it's going to be Noble Master. Let's maybe switch back to neutral. We have to do it for all. Go select the hosted unit, which is inside the robot, and mark it as commando. Commando unit. I think that's it. Save one more time. So now if you verify map, everything looks fine. And we can actually playtest it. So what maybe you don't realize is, whatever faction you select, that's a faction that's gonna appear when you play. So if you don't wanna always test with the same faction, just select maybe the last one in the list, and you select play, and then we have Fuchsia. You see it here. And now you just can test how it all works. Maybe build some structures. Then what else? So, explained a lot already. What's missing? So let's say we click one more time, maybe on a unit, and maybe look at the options. We can label the units. Maybe call this one Secret Harvester, if you want to do that. And now the unit has a label. Maybe you shouldn't label all, but maybe you want. But you can also add this the option must survive. That means if the unit is lost, the game ends. I'm not sure if actually that works for this scenario. There can only be 2 playable sides. So we would have to have a team scenario with 2 sides or just 2 factions to mark the unit as must survive. Because once the unit dies, the game ends. But if there's 3 sides in there, it's not clear who won in the end. So let's leave that out now. We can also adjust the strength, experience, make it very experienced, for example. The direction it's facing, how much it's constructed. I don't think it makes sense to have it not constructed, because it needs to be built inside a forge. How much Taurium ore it's already carrying, if it defaults to auto movement or not. Or if you want to have a custom scenario for maybe campaign missions, you can say, oh wait, I don't want this unit to move, so you can lock it or set it to attack, the move to unlock. That's more if you want to have campaign missions to have some fun events happening. It's a little bit limited that way, but maybe I fix it up later. And you can also change the owner if you want to. But we leave it with Pan Am League. But you see, there's a lot of experience now. We add up that. And you see the map is still fine. So, a lot of questions were also about triggers. How do they work and how to set up one. So you can mark any object to be a trigger. But maybe depending on the situation, you want to just place a trigger pole. It's only visible in the editor. And say, let's say you go here. You go to edit. You go close to here. You receive maybe some sort of matter. We can add the trigger. We go to edit. We can set a trigger. We can set based on condition or based on effect. So maybe we can say based on proximity. I mean, that means proximity if, for example, 100 or... So if you go here on the left hand side, there is the name. You should set one, otherwise you don't know which one is which. If you want to have it appear in the hint list, you can also set a text. Maybe hide it as done. You can also say who gets the hint, how many times it repeats. I think in this case it probably only makes sense to repeat it once. You can also set a precondition, a trigger before that trigger. We don't have defined any triggers yet, so it's still empty. You can say it happens every so often, but we already set a proximity, so we leave that. Or the condition when somebody builds it. Maybe we say, so as soon as somebody, maybe Panem League builds a recon missile, we set the trigger, but let's just keep it simple. If something is built, I mean, placed means it's placed, but not necessarily built. Or if a grid is connected to power, the condition loading or unloading, condition going to a target. I think that's when you target an object, or mining. Condition if a unit is repaired. You see other conditions. We're gonna add more later, but for now that's it. So trigger number 1. As soon as somebody, let's say, goes to distance 2.0, that's distance in tiles. And the trigger only works for the Panem League. We give an effect. So the effect is, maybe we have a quick pop-up. Hey, you got 100 ore. You don't have to do the pop-up, maybe Major Tom says it with the helmet. The quick pop-up comes up in the upper left corner. And you also say who is going to view the trigger. That's a Panem League. And then here we have different things we can do. Activate the map, zoom the map to a certain position. Give movement. What do we have here? Can give technology. We can give 100 matter. Apply it. Now here the trigger now displays also which event it refers to. And if we try it, see, the trigger is hidden, but once we get close to the trigger it will activate. If I did everything, and here you got 100 ore, so assets received. And here the objectives, that's the hint that I added. You found the ore mine. I don't know, maybe the name is bad. So instead of 1000 matter we have 1100. And so next, maybe you want to upload it for other players to play. So here is the upload action. So please be careful, nothing bad, no copyright material, no other profanities. And what we have to do is we have to get screenshot images in the format 600 to 400 pixel for the map, or just map images. And you may be struggling again, oh no, how do I get those images? And it's actually not that difficult. For example, here we have a print screen button on most keyboards, or some other function key. If you press alternate print screen, I take a screenshot. Now we go back to photo pair that we used before, and we create a new image, 600 times 400 pixels as required. Create. And now with paste, we can just copy paste the image in there. What I think might be good, don't maybe show the UI, just show the map. You can also adjust the size, but this image is now 600 times 400 pixels, and we save it again as a PNG file. What do you call it? Snapshot PNG. Yeah, I think till the ad blocker, but it's gonna be able to download it again into the same folder. So we have the map shot 600 times 400 pixel that we can use now. So now you can upload it. Map shot 1. And then select the upload button. I'm not going to do that now because I don't want to upload the map, but that's basically it. I hope that explains how you go through it all. I'm going to post the video now. Just comment under the video and they're going to answer questions if something isn't clear.